Moving on to long ball number 2, our second note of the morning here on Friday. This is credit in large part to the commenters and the MK Ultras in the Discord. But on Wednesday, we did a story on Collin County, Texas, announcing that they're starting a new pro soccer team next year, 2026, it says, kicking off in March 2026. Lots of folks in the area had no clue what this was. So some internet sleuthing went down, and there might be a couple threads to pull out to get some clues on to what's going on with this Collin County pro side.
Yeah, it looks like, and people were very quick to say, is this Texoma FC relocating? Now, I'll put up a map here to give you a sense of what the region looks like. Okay, so you can see, I don't have them circled, but you can see Princeton right there, sort of middle, bottom half, right in the middle. It says Princeton. That's very close to McKinney. And we were speculating about what McKinney's role might be in this, because there is the McKinney Chupacabras of USL League 2 who have drawn significant crowds. We talked to Michael Hitchcock about his efforts to launch these teams. By the way, not everybody's on board with what Hitch is doing with those clubs, that this is about, making money. It's not actually good for the sport, but that's maybe a different debate for a different day. But it seems that rather than McKinney and Chupacabras have anything to do with this, even though McKinney and Princeton are very close, the Texoma FC USL League One entry, which plays in Sherman, which is up north, you can see almost directly north from McKinney, that club may be moving down south because they have the third lowest average attendance in USL League One. Their venue is less than ideal. And even though it looks like they were trying to raise money through new investment as recently as May, there are very serious financial concerns and posts around Reddit and things like that about the potential of this team moving on and moving down south in order to stay alive. And I think it absolutely is a clue, Rob, that it says coming in 2026, because who can stand up a professional soccer club from scratch in 6 months time? Like, that's not a thing. So if they're saying they're going to be playing in 2026 and they're saying they're going to be pro, it just makes sense that this would be Texoma FC making a move south, which opens up a whole nother question about whether Texoma should have been granted a franchise to begin with and whether or not relocation is something we can stomach or we like. Okay, and Matt is now saying that it's not. Wow, this is a new wrinkle. I did not realize that. Texoma FC put out a statement yesterday saying that it's not them. That is development here, because we had all this information that said it was probably going to be them, but if they put out a statement denying this, Rob, do we believe them?
Yeah, this confuses the situation a little bit, because multiple people had written to us saying that they signed up for the newsletter on that Collins County post that led them to a mailing address that looked like the Texoma club address. So people were drawing a line between the two there. But Matt Prater throwing a wrinkle in the mix. So I guess it's all very speculative right now. And I saw the Third Degree, I think it's podcast or platform. Yeah. They're very close to FC Dallas and follow them very closely. And they were taken off guard. They're like, what is going on here? So, and in there's also been posts made and retracted. So there's a lot of murkiness here.
Okay. So what Matt is saying, following up, thank you, Matt, by the way, statement went out to all Texoma Youth Academy parents. So they did an internal statement to a subset of people who are involved directly with the Texoma Youth Academy there in North Texas. That's not the same as going public with that to everybody amidst the speculation. Hey, we're not moving. That is interesting. Now, I'm not questioning Matt, but I do wonder what that means. Like, or without having the text of the statement, is it possible that Texoma is telling, or the youth academy is saying, we're not going anywhere, but the professional club could be moving? And the distance is not so great, right? That you can't imagine there being some sort of, we're still running a youth academy in Sherman or in that part of Texas, but we're going to go play our games in Princeton because it gives us a better chance to draw a crowd. I mean, yeah, man, that is, this whole thing is a mess now. If it's not, and I don't want to be throwing out, well, it's definitely Texoma. Obviously, we don't know that it's definitely Texoma because there is no clear evidence that it's Texoma. But if they're putting out statements to their youth groups, their youth families, that they're not doing this, who is it? And how do they get a team? How do they stand up a team in 6 months? And is this definitely USL League One? Because again, you could say, well, maybe it's an amateur team. It says pro soccer right there. It says pro. So what is that? I mean, again, we even speculated it could be a MLS Next Pro team, or I guess it could be technically a NISA team. NISA teams are pro in some regard. So what is going on here?
I think Chris in the comments has a decent point, possibly splitting the youth up from the pro team, a la Philly and YSC years ago. Yeah, I mean the youth team's putting out that message saying like, "Hey, we're not going anywhere. Don't take away any of your payments to your youth club soccer. We're not moving away. Keep your kids here." And possibly the top level pro side doing their own thing and moving. Possibly a lot of speculation here. Obviously, mystery surrounding this Collin County pro team that's supposed to start in just a few months, but we're going to talk about this at the top of the hour with our guest, but it's going to come up there. But does the Texoma thing and the mystery surrounding this, does this lead to the question about USL and how discerning they are on the entry to their leagues?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, there is something there. And I have a big appetite for just start something, try, because if you don't try, you don't know if it's going to work. And we're not in a place to be picky when it comes to American soccer. We certainly haven't been for a long time. But I do think there is a question about whether or not it's wise just to sort of set a bar and say, well, if you clear this bar financially, we'll give you a club, without sort of checking in and saying, well, is this the right place for us to put a club? Because I definitely think it is bad. I mean, I don't think I'm going on a limb here. I guess you could argue about how bad it is. I think it's bad when clubs die, right? That's a bad thing. In fact, to bring this kind of to bring that point to bear here, and even in Texas, although in a very different part of Texas, I was reading a newsletter about college sports yesterday. That's all about sort of the money in college sports and various things. And the reporter had gone down to the Rio Grande Valley, in I think way down deep South Texas.
Used to be a USL team there, yeah.
There used to be a USL team. They built a stadium for that team. They died, and now a college football program is starting at Rio Grande Valley University. And he was writing about the potential success of this football program in that part of the country, in that part of Texas. And I was like, this is wild, because that was a soccer venue. There was a soccer team there. The Toros played there, and now they're gone. And it's almost like, oh yeah, remember the Toros? Remember that they existed? Because that's how our brains are sort of calcified when we think about dead teams all the time. Like there are teams I haven't thought about in years, and that's sad, right? That they came and they went and they were like this blip. They just kind of happened, and I don't think that's good. I think it's a death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. Like it's just erosion of the faith in the idea that we can build a fully built out, put the pins, drop the pins on the map kind of situation. Dot the map has been a thing I've said, and it's been picked up, and I really do believe that. But you don't dot the map irresponsibly, Rob. You dot the map with clubs are going to stand at least a couple of years test of time. Like at least give us 5 or 6 or 8 years, and then you get a chance.
We want to dot the map with pen and not pencil, is what you're saying here, I think. And this wreaks havoc. It's kind of a reverse reappropriation.
Dud Soccer Club right here on my chest. Now, maybe that's because the MLS team came to town, but again, that's a problem too. Like, oh, are we just going to push teams out of the way because somebody with $500 million comes in? I don't love that. As great as San Diego FC has been on the field and as fun as they've been, and I talked to Mikey Veras on the radio yesterday, and he's doing a great job. It still sucks that a club had to die so that one could live. And maybe you would argue, well, San Diego could have tried to make a go of it. I suppose that's true. But again, part of our issue is that American soccer is kind of only as strong as the appetite of people who have some money to keep going when there's a chance of significant losses. Not everybody is willing to stand again, these are not community clubs that have baked in support that goes back generations, and you can sort of count on something. When we talk about buying clubs in England, Americans buying clubs in England, little clubs that are value propositions, they're not doing that because, they love the game. They're doing that because they see potential growth because it's a baked-in fan base, and here it causes a problem. Now, Riverside Grove is saying something a lot of people will agree with. Without promotion, teams can't grow, and that increases the likelihood of death. We don't know until we try if that's the case. So then that's where we are a lot. A lot of us are at this point with USL talking about pro rel.
Interesting, the reverse reappropriation of soccer going to football in Rio Grande Valley. There, it's been the other way. Is soccer being played on American football fields has been typically the way to go.